Okay, welcome back. It's been a while. It's been a fun summer, so that's my brief explanation for lack of videos lately, but we're coming back now with one that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time, and we're finally getting around to it. And I wasn't sure what I wanted to say about Secret of Mana before I started making videos on it. This might be my only one. So first, we're just going to walk around a little bit and do some very basic grinding, let you get an idea of what the game looks like visually, get an idea of the combat. 3 characters. A boy, a sprite, and a girl. Boy, obviously the warrior type character. So this is the way the combat works. This is a strange RPG. But you bring up the combat. First off, you can switch characters, select, bring up the combat wheel. You can change how you want your supporting characters to work. This game is, by the way, 2 players, but it's a little unintuitive as a 1 player. Maybe it works a little bit better as a 2-player game. This is how you switch which weapons you want to equip, items. And you do have spells for the other characters. I realize I'm going through this kind of quickly. I just don't have anything positive to say about this game. This is one of those games that during COVID, I was like, okay, finally, I have some time to actually get around and play. Because this one, the Super Nintendo's so famous for their RPGs, like, the Final Fantasy games, Earthbound, Super Mario RPG, Chrono Trigger. This was one that I'd never played. In fact, my experience with RPGs is really only limited to Super Mario RPG the turn-based RPGs, which I love Super Mario RPG. And then finally, during COVID, I had time, I did Earthbound. This, Secret of Mana and Illusion of Gaia, were 2 games that were on my list that I'd just never gotten around to. Secret of Mana on the Super Nintendo Mini, so that was a double bonus, being able to play that, and Earthbound. I went through Earthbound first during COVID, and then I decided to try and give this one a shot, and I just, for the life of me, could not get into this. It starts off fine, like you start off with only the boy character, and I don't know if you've noticed, but when you attack something, let me find an enemy, but when you attack something, you can't just go up and hack and slash it, because your attacks do significantly less damage when you're just attacking not fully charged. You have to wait a few seconds for that meter at the bottom to fully recharge. And then you can do another attack. That's a really cool innovation. And the first boss, you had plenty of room to maneuver, and you had to kind of figure out how to attack him. Like, all that was fine and well. But once they introduce these other characters, it gets a little bit more complicated, because now all of a sudden you have to, you can set them up to, be more conservative or to fight more aggressively, but they are just not very good defensively. They get themselves killed so quickly. And then the boss battles is where the game really loses me. One of the first bosses is, and if you look this information up on Google, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about, but Spiky Tiger. Really difficult. I mean, the guy just pulverizes you. And then after that, it's Fire Gygus. Same thing. He just pulverizes you. And this game has so many defenders. Everyone, anytime I've ever like looked up a thread on Reddit or even the old forums on GameFAQs.com, there's lots of comments that are like, I got to Fire Gygus and I gave up. I just got my head handed to me and I was not having fun. I really didn't understand, how to make it work. The enemies can stun lock you. The bosses, their attacks, like the idea of being able to attack and then maneuver and attack again when you're charged up is a great idea, but the boss attacks, a lot of them can't be dodged. When a boss attacks, you just have to, like a turn-based RPG, you just have to take it, and that's no fun, because then you get stun locked, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you precisely what I think one of the top complaints are, just this game having a total lack of balance. Now, the defenders of this game, like every time I've gone through the forums, it's always something along the lines of, like I got to Fire Gygus and I just got frustrated and gave up. I really should have shown you the Fire Gygus fight because it is unbelievably frustrating. He'll just chain together 4 attacks and you're dead. There's nothing you can do. But all the defenders champion, oh no, once you get past Fire Gygus, the game gets so much better, you just have to stick through it. Basically, the game it's like a bad book, and everyone tells you, no, you just got to keep finishing. Like, I'm at the point where this is my last hurrah. Once I get through this next boss, if the game does not improve, I absolutely refuse to put in another minute. So, the next boss is Wall Monster. So what we're going to do here, first off, we're going to make sure that our characters are going to be conservative. Okay, yep. The number one complaint I saw with persons that talked about playing this game in 2-player, imagine you're the playing as the boy character. You're walking around slashing at things with your sword, and then the action gets interrupted every time one of the other, like whoever's playing as, either the sprite character or the girl character, every time they want to use magic, which they need to do constantly, to revive the other character, to enhance attacks, to grant defense, for a magic attack, the other characters are basically magic characters. And every time you do that, you interrupt the other character who's engaged in combat. It totally sucks. It's not fluid. But anyway, so what we're going to do is we're just going to rush all the way through. We're not going to fight anything if we can help it. For some reason, they keep wanting to fight, even though I just want to get through this as quickly as possible. Come on, let's go. Like, this is a really fun dungeon, right? You just kind of run through. One of my characters died already. Goodness. Okay, so we're at the boss. We're gonna go ahead and use a revival item. And here's what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna save right here. We're gonna try this boss battle 2 ways. First, we're gonna do it the way I think it's supposed to be done, and then we're gonna do it the way that everybody says you're supposed to do it. Alright, so first, and that's another thing about this story, or about this game. The story is just not interesting. It turns out with these turn-based RPGs on the Super Nintendo, if you didn't have a really good story like Earthbound or Final Fantasy III, it's not memorable. No one remembers the story for Secret of Mana or Illusion of Gaia. Alright, so first we're going to cast a protection spell on... I guess we'll cast it on everybody. Alright, now we're going to cast a... make everyone's weapons better, I think. Now we'll do an attack spell. Like, this is not fun. Like, even if you're proficient at, like, zipping through the items, or in the spells. My attack's just not hitting. revive item. And just my attacks not hitting. You're supposed to hit it when the eyes are wide open. Alright. I'm out of magic. Well, I guess I got one more magic spell. Now, what I could do is use my magic item, or refill my magic. I'm not going to do that, though. I'm going to try and get through it without doing that, because I believe that's how you're supposed to do this battle. I had to do a ton of backtracking to find magic refilling items. They're called fairy walnuts, and they're very expensive, and I just don't get it. Like, this game doesn't want you to... It wants you to be very limited with your magic. At least in battle. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to put them on all-out attack. Okay, we got one eye shut. Bring back one eyeball. None of my attacks are registering. Like, this isn't fun. This isn't a fun boss battle at all. Look at this. This is a joke. Like, your attacks can't register, but their attacks never miss. There's no way to dodge them. Even my weak attacks aren't registering on the eyes when they're wide open. I think that's the only attack you can dodge, is the flash beam. Alright, let's try something else. Let's try setting the boy's action to the most aggressive. And I know it looks like I'm just spending a lot of time not moving. I'm telling you, you cannot move. Like, that's what's so frustrating about these boss battles, is that when you take hits, you can't move. You can switch to the other character. I guess I'm just not good enough at it yet. And of course, the enemy has unlimited magic. I like it much better in, like, a traditional RPG where they can run out of magic attacks and they have to rely on, like, a melee attack. And if you are able to last them long enough, then they have to rely on the melee attack, the traditional attack. Yeah, no idea what Royal Jam does. So that's how a traditional boss battle works. This one I had drawn out because I had so many healing items. Now we're going to show you the way that everyone says you're supposed to get through this battle. Okay, same as before, we're going to use the protection spell. We're going to use it on the sprite character. And apparently we're just supposed to spam this and now we use our magic item. And while she's casting that, we'll use another Is this a fun boss battle? Absolutely not. Like, that's how you're supposed to do it, just spam magic, and if you don't have a magic healing item, that's no fun. There's no skill involved. Always one of the more frustrating things. You know, how do you get back to the beginning of the dungeon? Which NPCs can you talk to and get stuff? Of course it is. Yeah, I wish I had something nice to say, but that was not fun. I'll go ahead and save the game here, I guess. Now, as I stated before, I do believe that the game developers didn't want you to just spam powerful magic attack to defeat the bosses. I have to believe that the intent of the devs was to have a balanced and fun boss encounter. My gripe is that the healing item, the magic item that you use to get your magic points back, they're hard to find. There's like one guy I was able to find that sold it. Let's see. Is there a shop over here? I have heard that some shops, after you get past a certain point, like this guy wasn't selling it. It's called the Fairy Walnut. Yeah, no fairy walnuts here. So anyway, I've complained about this game enough. I just don't see the appeal. I'll probably try and plow through it a little bit longer, and if I'm just not feeling it, which I'm not, if I keep plowing through and it's still like unintuitive, just no flow, not fun, I don't know, I just don't see the appeal. And if you're one of those defenders, you know, oh, you just have to play through it a little longer, or you're not giving it a fair chance, I don't want to hear it. I've given this game more than enough chances. It's just not a good game. So save it, play Final Fantasy VI, which, by the way, I'm also not that big a fan of. I've tried that game over the years, and every time I do, I get bored. I do want to try Final Fantasy II, though, on the Super Nintendo, even though I've heard that one's inferior. But I think at this point, I'm just going to set this down and give Illusion of Gaia a chance. That one looks a little bit more my speed. Whatever the case, Secret of Mana, just not for me. And why this was included on the Super Nintendo Classic, I have no idea. So, anyway, thanks for swinging by, and we'll get back again soon.